Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. And what a fallout we have from yesterday's video where Greg Grippo discussed new aspects of his relationship with Katie Thurston. We'll get into some of that. I'm going to read your comments and we'll discuss it because y'all leave fascinating, very well thought out comments, and I wanted to give that some more light. So we'll get into all that. Of course, we have Michelle's season finale tonight. Not much to say that we haven't said already. You can check out the preview if you haven't watched already. I made that video an hour ago. Once the finale's over, call the voicemail line, 401-213-9828, and we'll discuss everything about the finale. I've got the schedule right here. The pre-finale live, 7 p.m. Eastern. After show live, 11 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a 3-hour live. A 3-hour Bachelorette, that is. And then an after show West Coast live, 11 p.m. Pacific time. I will be exhausted and probably drunk because I'm going to be drinking tonight to celebrate what an epic occasion it is. I've got my peppermint patty stout that I'll be drinking for Vlogmas, so you guys can check out all that. If you haven't already, look at my new vlog today. Christmas vlogs every single day of the year. I shot this last night. Made s'mores by my outdoor fire pit bar top table. We did Christmas-themed s'mores with Giardelli. Is that how you pronounce it? Giardelli chocolates. Oh, it was amazing. And tomorrow, I'm going to open this, my package from Switzerland. I got chocolate sent to me from Geneva. You guys are too fantastic. If you heard that right, that's right. We're really doing Christmas well. I got these leather bondage straps here in case you want to sneak up on somebody. This isn't what you want to wear. All right, let's get into it. Of course, you guys know we passed Nick Viall at 49,400. We're at 49,800. I'll give you the exact update, 49,827. So our next target is Madison Pruitt. If we hit 50,000 subscribers by tomorrow, which I don't see why we won't if you guys keep subscribing, then we will do a special live stream tomorrow afternoon just for 50K. We'll have fun with that. And of course, we'll be discussing Michelle and her whatever happens tonight. We'll discuss it on the live stream tomorrow as well. All right, let's get into it. So they've made a million different magazine articles. I say magazine, blog. It's a blog post essentially. Greg Grippo recalls quitting The Bachelorette, calling producers left and right to get a Katie Thurston update. Of course, we covered this yesterday. I think here's the video clip. Here's a thumbnail from yesterday. So if you haven't listened to the audio of that, go watch that video. I think most of you guys have. It's got a ton of views. Here are just some random quotes that Greg said. It felt too scripted. I didn't leave my bed for 10 days. I was so embarrassed, ashamed. My intention wasn't to gaslight her at all. Our chapter is over. And of course, it led to a conversation with you guys about, was it gaslighting? Wasn't it? A lot of people's opinions have changed on Greg Grippo after hearing him on Nick Viall's podcast, which was a good one, and then this one as well, which was also a good one. I would say technically it wasn't a great podcast. I'll read some of your criticisms of the host, but this happens, you know what I mean? Not all it's like, it's independent radio. What do you expect everyone to be, Tom Brokaw, So tell me, Greg, Tom Brokaw. Wouldn't you imagine that if you, that would be a great Lifetime movie, right? Like, how about that? Like a guy gets kicked out of his job as a power anchor, and then he's got to get into just like his second career takes off as an entertainment podcaster, and he's like, "Tell me, Greg, about this gaslighting situation." Coming up next on the evening news. So anyway, I'll read some of your comments, and again, look, people will say this. They'll say, "Dave, you're letting Greg off the hook," and then on the same thing, they'll say, "Dave, you're Katie's friend, so you're not it's like, what side is it?" I'm just trying to see this as two flawed, like all of us individuals that had a breakup, a messy one at that, play out on national TV. So a lot of people will sort of try to prosecute the point against Greg by saying, well, after the final rose, he said this, that, and the other. Well, on the show, he said this, that, and the other. And my response to that is, do you understand? I can't speak for other genders, and I can't speak for the entire male gender, but we can speak about ego. We can speak about defensiveness, stoicism, how we act in the face of our own fears. Greg, whatever he accessed on that show, whatever he felt on that show when his heart was opening, he in essence ran away. He left the show. He didn't finish the show to see how the outcome would be, and that's something he can deal with in his time at therapy, why he ran away from it. Maybe he knew Katie wasn't the right one all along. Maybe there was a love there. Maybe it brought up too many of his own emotions or whatnot. I'll read some of your comments. This interviewer seemed like she did not really care for their actual opinions, more so like she had a narrative she wanted them to agree to. They did a good job holding their own. Well, maybe. I mean, what can we know? I don't think it was less that, a lot of comments said the interviewer didn't listen well. And I understand. You have a set of questions. You're trying to pay attention, be in the moment, and also get to your questions. I totally understand. It's not easy. A good interviewer can listen to their responses and then add to them. There was and I'm not saying she's not a good interviewer, but there were moments where like Greg said something, and also the interviewer doesn't know the situation necessarily as much as you and I might, because she said rightfully that she only watched the last few episodes. So she's watching it very casually. But, we're watching it going, oh, more. Greg would say something like, I would have, if, he said that quote, if she said she loved me, I would have stayed. And then the interviewer was like, all right, now on to the next question. I'm like, no, go more to that. We need more. What? Huh? You were to state if she said, I would have loved to get those hard answers. JJ said, dude, this interviewer's assumptions about Katie choosing Blake are way overreaching. When people make unsupported assumptions about people, assuming the worst of people as having deceptive and spiteful intentions without any evidence, I think it reflects more about them. I respect Greg for owning his wrongs and supporting Katie. Now his stands should do the same. Making assumptions about someone's thoughts. We don't do that in Bachelor Nation, right? But absolutely. Because a lot of people say that. I see it in the DMs all the time. Like, everyone, look, we watch the show, so we can be like, I told you, I knew she would have chosen Stefan over, Brickley or whatever. I don't know. Just making up names here so I don't spoil anything. And it's like, we don't know anything. We don't know anything. So just shut up. Can it, Susan? Not you, Susan. The other Susan. Yeah, that Susan. You can go, can it. No, you other three Susans are cool. Are you wondering if I'm talking about you? I'm talking about you, Susan. She knows who she is. Sophie said, I do believe that his intention was never to gaslight her, even if that's what happened. But that said, he did treat her really poorly. I know she screwed up too, but she acknowledged that and tried to apologize and fix it with him. But he didn't want to listen to her, and it's a two-way streak with a problem. Well, we'll just say this. And again, this is what it comes down to, is sort of the people that go, it was gaslighting. And then someone else will go, well, gaslighting means this, and that's not what happened. And then someone else will go, well, but still, it doesn't matter what it was. It was bad. And he goes, yeah, it was bad. But words are important. I say this with the national media. I watch, obviously, CNN, of course, Fox News. You see people on the left and you see people on the right, and they're taking things in clipping words and not getting full context. You may hate the former president, Trump. And at the same time, it's up to our media to report what he actually says, not some truncated version, and vice versa. I'm coming at that from a progressive mindset. So toxic what's going on out there. And we do the same thing. We do the same thing. Now, you might say, well, Dave, on your thumbnail here, Greg didn't say, if she said I love you, I wouldn't have left. He said something like, if she had said she loved me, I wouldn't have left. It was something very similar. Let's see if we can find the love here. Let's see what he exactly said here. What if she said I love you back, guys? Like I couldn't leave then, I would have known then that this is going to be my wife. I wouldn't have left. All right? So I truncated it myself. But it wasn't for any reason other than I just needed to fit it on the... You understand what I'm saying? I think when I truncated it to basically spelled out what I was trying to say. I'm not giving a class on ethics in journalism here. I'm just saying we need to do a better job as consumers at sifting through what corporate media and what talking points exist on all sides of conversations. We need to do a better job if we're going to be scrolling Facebook to not just read the title of an article and think we have the full story, because editors are the people that put the titles together, and they're the ones that are maximizing their click rates, which means they're not going to give you the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
They're going to give you a version that sells their periodicals in a dying industry. What's the matter? What's the point of all this? The point is critical thinking, guys. Critical thinking. Read some more comments. I do believe that his intention was never to gaslight her, even if that's what happened. Did I share that part? Yeah, I did. Intent does not change impact, says the person below, which is fine, but does that make it gaslighting? You know what I mean? Chalese says, I still disagree with the notion that she was gaslit. Gaslighting is a serious manipulative tactic that should be differentiated from two people just disagreeing and refusing to see the situation from others' perspective. I agree, it's a horrible thing to do to someone, but I think it's more widespread than we think it is. Because simply denying someone's experience or telling them they're wrong, by definition, is gaslighting. But I get you. I see where you're coming from. Well, okay, well, is that gaslighting? Telling someone they're wrong? I had shared an example of like how my fiance and I have had a conversation where she goes, oh my gosh, you're totally gaslighting me. That's not what happened. Two different people misremembering or misinterpreting a scenario isn't gaslighting. You ever look at a piece of art and go, oh, I see the old widow. Oh, I see the young chick with the... It's like, you see two different things sometimes. And even in fights, that's what happens. You see two different things. Now, the goal in life is to try to see something through a set of eyes that you don't have attached to your body. To see something the way someone else might see something. One of the benefits of a very tragic 2020, a very tragic civil rights movement that was happening because of police brutality, was that people were forced to see situations through a different set of eyes. People were forced to see injustice that existed that they didn't even know about in their country. People that go, oh, I just want to bring the country back to what it used to be. What it used to be for who? And Rachel Lindsay echoed that same statement. What it used to be for who? Heidi said, now, not gaslighting. Blame shifting. The term gaslighting is meant for victims of actual abuse. Blame shifting versus gaslighting. I mean, look, these are semantics. These are linguistically, we could discuss this all day. And I don't have a side of like proving someone right or wrong. It's just about getting the words right. My 2 cents. Greg saw Katie's date with Blake, got hugely insecure, did not tell her, but gave her a big speech at the end of his hometown date with the intention that she would give him words of affirmation and reassurances in return. And Katie just took in his speech without seeing any need to give him more reassurances because she had already given him the only second one-on-one date. She had just told his mother that he's the front runner, and they had already had so many conversations about their future. I think it was fair for her to assume that in the moment, after a wonderful time with his family, he was telling her that he loved her out of confidence in the relationship and not insecurity, with no ulterior motive of collecting reassurances. Not to mention she was the lead, juggling everyone's emotions, including a national audience that wants a cliffhanger, romantic finale. She probably felt like she was walking a fine line, handing Greg all of those reassurances and still trying to give people a show. So she took in his speech with a smile, and Greg didn't get what he was really looking for. As a result, he became even more insecure, and as many people often do, channeling his insecurity through anger, which is a secondary emotion that is often used to mask fear or sadness. Later, at the mental log, Katie also channeled her sadness through anger towards him. Anger, excuse me. This is so well put. Ginger, are you a therapist? This is so well put. Channeling your sadness through anger. Of course Katie was disappointed. She spent so much time investing in this guy. She watched her season back and felt like she gave him all the breadcrumbs in the world. So of course she channeled that through anger. And that's why she came off kind of looking petty in a way after the final rose. And at the same time, he was like, I'm happy for you. You know, like he was kind of like snarky in his way. It's ugly, folks. Bottom line, Greg is an emotional guy who is still figuring out how to manage his ups and downs. Was he knowingly manipulating her the next day? I doubt it. That would require him to be deliberately manipulative, and I think it's pretty clear that he wasn't acting with much forethought. Sometimes people just act out when they don't get what they want. Example given, kid throwing a temper tantrum. Does that kid know that they're using anger to manipulate? No, they're just overreacting. Should we characterize that kid as a narcissist? No, they just had a bad moment. Otherwise, they're a good kid that is still growing, which leads me to my next point, 3. Being emotionally immature in your weakest moment in a high-pressure situation is a lot better than being a narcissist in your daily life. The former is a lot easier to fix with some time and work. Greg is now in therapy and actively tackling this. I think that's great. The fact that these sorts of comments exist on my channel is mind-blowing to me. If you told me a year ago that I'd be reading like these sorts of words from you guys, I would just be like, what? The fact not to mention we're getting chocolate sent in from Geneva. Are you kidding me? Are you guys kidding me? Diet Dave will be taking place in 2022. You bet your saggy bottom dollar. My saggy bottom dollar. And it's not to say everyone agrees. Consuela, one of our longtime supporters, we love Consuela, said it's bizarre to me that Greg says several times in this interview that he wanted just a crumb from Katie. I recall her giving him enormous amounts of encouragement and reassurance throughout the entire season, to the point where it seemed odd because their interactions were continually so focused on him and his needs. When things blew up after she met his family, it seemed like she was saying everything she possibly could and chased after him multiple times. So he seems to think that he didn't get a crumb, yet I feel like he actually got sandwiches, meals, desserts, chocolates from Geneva. Way more than crumbs, s'mores. And also, I recognize that these are two human beings, Greg and Katie, whose attachment and communication styles simply don't mesh, and never would have, regardless of how things would have played out on the show. Thanks for the great video, Dave, in your ever diplomatic perspective. L. Tiller said, yeah, he was so insecure, he needed constant reassurance, and it still wasn't enough. So many great comments from all of you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. If anyone has anything you want to share regarding this story, it may keep on going. We may keep on talking about this. You can, by all means, call the voicemail line 401-213-9828. I love hearing what you guys have to say. I hope to see you all later on today's live stream, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget the vlog channel. So much happening there. I just hope everyone has the chance to understand others' perspective, and in this Christmas season, let's just try the best with the information we have. We'll see you guys later on. Bye now.